Welcome to my randomology. Today, I'm going to suffer some PTSD flashbacks for your enjoyment. It is Monday, which is not a cause to celebrate, except that we are doing Memory Lane Monday again. And this week I decided to go way back into my childhood and see a movie that I really haven't seen probably since I was 10, maybe 9. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? All right. First time I ever remember seeing this movie, I definitely remember being about 5 years old. We were still living in Mexico, and I remember they were watching it on TV. And as a 5-year-old, these images of cartoons and live action people was one of the freakiest things I'd ever seen in my life. I was, of course, 5, so there's that. But they were the cartoons that I loved. I had, there was Mickey Mouse up there, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. They were all there, and they were acting like they were actors. And to me, this made perfect sense. Of course, they're actors in a studio. That's how you make cartoons, right? Of course, my parents were explaining to me like, oh, it's a movie, all this stuff. I mean, I understood that, but it was still so cool to see this. Even today, looking back, the effects of putting the cartoon characters and interacting with live action props and actors, it still holds up. It's still really, really good. But the first time that I saw this movie, I never actually got to see how it ends. Correction, I could have seen how it ended, but I was scared absolutely shitless by Judge Doom turning into a half cartoon. So that was kind of it for me as far as Who Framed Roger Rabbit for a few years. Fast forward a little bit, and actually got really into special effects. It was kind of an offshoot of kind of this little fascination that I had for a while with learning how to do magic tricks. And I started making the connection that special effects in movies were a lot like magic tricks. This is very much the era before CG became like a huge thing. So I started watching all these shows. There was one show in particular on the Discovery Channel. It was called Movie Magic, where they would take an entire episode to show how they did a certain type of effect in a movie, in a specific scene or specific shot. And it was the coolest thing for me. And there I got to figure out, oh, this is how they ended up doing the whole Roger Rabbit thing. And, yeah. So I might have been maybe 9 or 10 when knowing all this stuff and knowing like, okay, here's the special effects, here's how this works. It is a cartoon, all these different things. I know they're actors, but at the same time, that initial trauma of seeing Judge Doom turn around with the red eyes and the voice and everything, it was still stuck in my head, and it was still one of the most frightening things I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen little bits of the movie here and there, like clips will pop up on like my YouTube feed, or they'll get shown on something else, but I haven't sat down to actually watch the movie in almost 25 or 26 years. So this is going to be interesting. So let me re-traumatize myself for your enjoyment. And hey, if you like that sort of thing, there's a link to a Patreon down there where you can sign up for early release updates, polls. You can vote on which movies I'm going to see next. You get behind the scenes looks. And just anything else that I want to throw out there that'll be exclusively for you, the people who help keep the lights on. So with that, let me re-traumatize myself and let's watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Let's get to it. One of the things that this movie actually did kind of impress upon me was the character archetype of the detective. I know I mentioned in the Woman in the Window reaction that I don't really watch a lot of mysteries or thrillers, but the few that I have seen, I'm very much in love with that character of like the noir investigator. There it is, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Animal cruelty, it's hilarious. It's something that I'm actually noticing now looking at this again after all these years. Like the animation, even in this first segment, is of such high quality compared to like the little, Looney Tunes or Disney shorts. Like the amount of frames that they're using, the detail, everything is so much higher. Even at a young age, I did wonder why the oven would have that setting. Like, what are you cooking in there? Why was the chili sauce with the pans? I love the real life cartoon set. It's so good. You really got to give it up to Bob Hoskins and everybody else on the cast here for literally acting with nothing in front of them. That's kind of a thing now with all the CG that gets used, but still.
There's no business more expensive. I'm 25 grand over budget on the latest Baby Herman cartoon. You saw the rabbit blowing his lines.
25 grand. Hold on. When is this supposed to take place? Like 1930 something? How much is that in like 2021 dollars? Hold on. 1947. Okay, so inflation calculator, and he's $25,000 over. That would be $300,000. What are they spending $300,000 on? Jeez. A lot of the lines really flew over my head when I first saw this. I mean, there's a lot of references. It's really like sharp.
The job's gonna cost you $100 plus expenses.
$100? That's ridiculous.
And $100 would be $1,200. You're throwing around $300,000 on what's very clearly like a little short tune, and you're bitching about $1,200. Jeez. Seriously, being 5 years old and seeing this was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my 5 years. I got jump scared by Dumbo. I do like the style of the movie. You know, that is one of the things that actually impressed me. You know, that 1940s, 1930s, maybe early 50s kind of design. We used to go to California to visit family a lot when I was younger, and this was my impression of what California and the U.S. used to be like. You know, obviously that's not the case, but it definitely left an impression on me. I just realized he's just drinking the stuff that's left.
Check the scroll.
It's one of the things I really appreciate watching this now, that everybody plays this completely straight within the rules of the world, but it's still so demented. Penguin suits. I get it. I love that gag of like all the humans are after Jessica and all the toons are after Roger. And this is what definitely makes this movie not for kids. Why was I watching this when I was 5? No, seriously, who let me watch this movie when I was 5? That's pretty much every guy's reaction to seeing that scene the first time. That was a toon? You know, take out a lot of the animation in many of these scenes, and this could really legitimately look like a straightforward noir murder mystery. Never go wrong with the old silhouette gag. Please. This is what I mean, like, for being really a ridiculous movie, like Bob Hoskins just plays it dead straight, and that's honestly the only way you could play something like this. I mean, if he played it silly, it wouldn't have had the impact that it does. You need to balance out the silliness of the tunes with this. You know, treat it seriously. It's part of the reason that like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight works so well because they're playing it like a regular crime thriller that just happens to have a superhero and a terrorist dressed like a clown. You need that balance, you know, like storytelling is a question of making sure that all these ingredients balance each other out. You know, it's kind of like cooking, you know, you don't want just sweet, you need salty and sour and all these other things. I just noticed the boots goose stepping.
It's number 1-7.
This right here, the sum of most of my childhood fears.
Rubbed off on
This was a week of nightmares right here, coming up. Yeah, forget Freddy, Jason, or Michael. This right here is the villain I never want to see at the end of a dark alley. I wanted a bed like this when I was little. You know, sans the cartoon rabbit in the sheets.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000,
Why don't you just leave the letter there?
Tennyson, it ain't.
Search the place.
I just noticed the boxes from the liquor store strewn about the kitchen.
Look, Valiant, we got a reliable tip-off. The rabbit was here, and it was corrugated by several others.
I also would not have caught like all the mispronunciations they're doing because I was barely learning English when I first saw this.
Wash your mouth up.
Does this help?
Yeah, thanks. Do you mean to tell me that you could have taken your hand out of that cuff at any time?
No, not at any time. Only when it was funny.
Get out.
Come on, Eddie, where's your sense of humor?
He always is funny, or
A story that has its own set of rules and it holds to those rules is really, really good, especially for things like science fiction and fantasy like this. Like, the twos have their own internal set of rules. It's amazing. I mean, it's cartoon logic, but they stick to that cartoon logic.
Yeah.
I'd do anything for my husband, Mr. Valiant. Anything.
What a wife.
I'm desperate, Mr. Valiant. Can't you see how much I need you?
dabbling in watercolors, Eddie?
You don't believe a painted hussy like that could turn my head? She's just trying to get her hands
A
on
painted hussy.
I love to break the pain. Believe me, it's no strain. It feels so great.
Nice way to get him to get around cursing.
No pain.
And a dying rabbit deserve a last request.
Yeah, nose plugs would be nice.
Want a drink?
That seems like more than a double. That's like a quadruple. That's a quarter of the bottle.
Do.
I don't.
Do.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You don't.
I do.
Don't.
I do.
Don't.
Cartoon logic.
When I say I do, that means I do.
Even though I didn't see the ending of the movie, that's the thing that I kept calling out. Like, I could call out these things because I was obsessed with cartoons.
We trailed into a little dive down on Yaxter Street. Went in.
Again, play it as straight as you can. Just play the scene normally, and everything else just kind of falls into place around it.
On us for fifth time after that.
See, the content of what he's saying should be hilarious, but it's really not. Again, it's performance, it's context, it's all this stuff, and it's so good. It is so good.
Hate you.
Thanks, cold water on the crotch. Blade Runner. That's where I've seen her before. Oh my god. Jeez.
Let's forget it. There's nobody here.
Is that it, or are you scared?
I'm sorry. I've been like racking my brain trying to remember where I've heard her voice.
I'm gonna listen to you spin the Cloverleaf scenario. The story of greed, sex, and murder.
You know, a kids movie with Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in it. Yosemite Sam gave it to him. Oh my god. Oh. Well, that makes sense why the bullets are like this now. All right, here comes the acid trip sequence. Hang on a second. Here come the nightmares. All right, let's do this. The fact that this looked like a ride at Disney, which I just, I'd been to before, just made it that much more surreal. Acme overused gags. Jesus Christ. Just freaked me out. Just like the weird rubbery, for a good time call Alice. Oh god. Just the weird rubbery like person.
Pity went to market. This widow Pity stayed home.
Did Tweety Bird used to be a real dick? Like back in the 40s?
This widow Pity found a parachute
Oh,
behind the
oh.
danger zone.
Endgame is one of the greatest crossovers of all time? This right here is the greatest crossover of all time.
Yeah, ain't I a stinker?
You're like, this made me see like all cartoons as like potentially homicidal maniacs that were about to kill me if I ever actually met them. And for somebody who grew up watching all these cartoons, this was horrifying.
From the looks of it, I'd say it was Roger. My honey bunny was never very good behind the wheel.
A better lover than a driver, huh?
You'd better believe it, Buster.
Hey, you got it, you got it.
Nice booby trap.
Booby trap.
Running from here to Pasadena. Smooth, safe, fast. Traffic jams will be...
What's that shadow in the back?
So that's what...
You see, I bought the red car so I could dismantle it.
This is a real Scooby-Doo plot right here. Which makes sense. All monsters are human. Except for Doom, who's not.
Why, the real meaning of the word probably hits you like a ton of bricks.
I mean, you see the gag coming, but still.
Better when you are, Raoul.
Nice. Oh god, it was a brick joke. Oh my god. That's really smart and a really great pun.
You're slaying him. You're knocking him dead.
Again, I would have gotten that pun because I was just barely learning English.
Wicked witch cry, and although
I know it's strictly taboo. I love how many things that we saw earlier in the movie are just coming back to this. That's just wonderful setup. Not knowing that he would survive this and then seeing this was one of the most horrific things I'd ever witnessed as a child. Just the way he's screaming too. Oh my god. Alright, hold on. Alright. This ain't gonna cut it. 1 second. That's the shot glass I need for this. Alright, let's do this. Childhood trauma, here I come. Oh, that's disturbing.
Not just age, dude!
According to Letterboxd, I've seen something in the order of 800 horror movies, and this is still one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life.
Remember me, Eddie? When I killed your brother, I talked. Just wait.
Yep, still horrible. So you're the sick bastard that came up with this character and this design. Oh, the ice. All right, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Let's talk about it. So that was the thing that traumatized me for a couple of years, and it is still pretty horrifying. I mean, on a purely technical level, I can see somebody trying to make a movie like this today with CGI. I mean, we got the new Space Jam coming out soon, and it's a very similar idea. But the fact that all of this was hand-drawn on video, nothing digital, no computer compositing and all that somebody had to actually go in and physically move these props around. I've seen behind-the-scenes footage of the scene where the weasels are in Eddie's office, the way that the guns are on sticks and wires and all these different things. I mean, that's a level of planning that is incredible, just from a professionalism standpoint. From a story standpoint, I think the plot stands up extremely well. Like I said at one point, I don't know if I cut it out, if you take away the tune aspect, this could stand as a reasonably good noir murder mystery. Bob Hoskins, everybody else kind of plays it relatively straight. I mean, obviously not a lot of the performers play it very comedic, but you have to have that balance of seriousness to kind of balance the not goofy, but the goofiness, which I think is what makes this movie so good. It's what makes a lot of some of the best superhero movies so good. One of my favorite Marvel movies is Captain America and the Winter Soldier, because take away the superheroic aspect of it, and it's a kind of this political action thriller with a very real world concern, the loss of privacy. There's a murder mystery, there's jealousy, violence, sex, all these things, all the aspects of a good noir story. And like I mentioned near the beginning, this is the story that kind of made me fall in love with that genre. I don't really watch a lot of murder mysteries or mysteries in general, but I am a huge sucker for a detective story. Not necessarily the mystery of it, but I remember in college when I got to read the Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep, and it just kind of brought back all these memories of Roger Rabbit, kind of like the way that Indiana Jones for a while made me want to be an archaeologist. And then, of course, I realized that's not what archaeologists actually do. I got a friend, she's working in the UK right now, and she has told me she hates it when people ask her, is this like Indiana Jones? No. Kind of like I know now that being a private detective is nothing like these stories, but still, amazing movie. Would definitely watch it again. Can't wait to actually show it to my daughter at some point. And I don't know if I'm looking forward to explaining some of the humor and some of the story, but it is still very fun. There's definitely stuff there that's only for adults that I really never picked up on when I first saw this and when I finished watching it so many years ago. And I'm watching it now, and I can very much appreciate the humor and the story and the writing and the delivery and all these things. This is a movie that I don't think is ever going to get old for me. A+, whatever comes after an A. Wonderful movie. Horrifying in its last 20 minutes. Judge Doom is forever going to go down as one of those villains that just scared the crap out of me when I was little, and even looking at it now with everything else that I've seen is still scary. Might not be the word for it, just disturbing, just for everything that he is. The fact that there is this sociopathic, pseudo-human, uncanny valley thing living alongside Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. I'm probably gonna have nightmares tonight. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen, there's a link to a Patreon down there. The more patrons we get, the more I can do with this channel. More videos per week. There can be giveaways. So many other things that I can do. Probably upgrade my equipment. Those of you that are on Patreon, you're probably going to see some of the behind the scenes stuff this week and last week, so you can kind of see what I'm working with. It works. It does what it's supposed to, but could be better. So that is it for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I believe the next movie is Secret, so watch out for that video. See if you can guess what it is. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.